All right, but now let's really get started with the presentation. Okay, roughly 1 year ago, or actually exactly 1 year ago, so in Mobile World Congress 2010, we announced bada, Samsung's mobile platform, plus all the ecosystem around that. Soon after that, in April, we launched the first SDK in a beta version. And then in August, we launched the first stable version. But in April, we launched our first bada-powered phone, which is the Wave S8500. It's a quite top-notch smartphone. You can read the characteristics on the screen. It's had a 1 GHz processor, Super AMOLED screen, 5 megapixel camera, HD video playback and recording, Bluetooth 3.0, sensor integration, all the rest of it, everything which you would expect from a smartphone. And with this phone, we were actually pretty successful. So in the first 5 weeks or so, we managed to sell it over 1 million times. Okay, as I said, the first SDK in a beta version was publicly available in April. And just to recap, basically the bada architecture of the SDK is bada, the mobile platform, is logically abstracted into 4 different layers. And I just want to go over it very, very quickly and not go into too many details. So the most bottom layer is what we call the kernel layer. So that's actually a binding to various different kernels. At the moment, we support real-time OS. Above that is what we call the device layer. So this layer opens up functionality to fundamental phone capabilities, such as multimedia, graphics, security, communication protocols, and all the rest of it. On top of that, we have the service layer. In terms of services, we differentiate between 2 different types of services. The one is called application service, so that means from your bada application, you can actually invoke other applications as well. And the second part to it is remote services. So with bada, you have the possibility to access remote services on a bada server. I'll come back to that in a minute. And then on top of that is the last layer, is the framework layer, which is basically the API, which allows you as developers to access the functionalities encapsulated beyond all these layers. Okay, I mentioned that already, that is indicated here. What you get with bada is also seamless access to remote services on the bada server. So with seamless, basically, I mean that you just use the API, which is very nicely abstracted, and by just simply invoking method calls, you can access different services on the server. We have 4 different types of services, which is actually, I would say, a benefit or an asset of bada, and I'll go into details about all these 4 services later on. Okay. I don't want to spend too much time on talking about bada 1.0, but what does that name mean? Pardon? Okay, sorry about that. I just want to go briefly about the core functionalities provided by bada 1.0. So of course we support all the basic UI controls which you would expect, like buttons, labels, lists, and all the rest of it. But more exciting is we also provide a couple of specific controls, such as there's a map control, which allows you to integrate the map functionality very easily into your bada app. We provide a web control, which allows web browser functionality to integrate into your app, and also a flash control, which allows you to integrate flash functionality into your application. Further to that, on the right-hand side of the slide, we also provide possibilities to increase the user experience for your users. So this means things like sensor integration. We integrate all the common sensors as you would expect it. So GPS, acceleration, tilt, compass, motion detection. We also support face detection and even face recognition. And you also get the possibility to access a weather sensor. Okay. Then in terms of multimedia, of course you can draw graphic primitives directly onto the canvas. More exciting is that we also support the OpenGL ES libraries in versions 1.1 and 2.0. We will have a dedicated presentation about later on from our partner Imagination Tech. We're going to talk about that in more details. Then in terms of multimedia, we support recording and playback of audio and video. You can also interact with raw data, and we also provide access to the camera. In terms of data networking, we support the Bluetooth in the standard 3. We support Wi-Fi, HTTP 1.1, and even socket access if you really need that low-level type of programming. All the bada phones are equipped with WebKit-based browser called Dolphin. And also as a developer, you can make use of browsing functionality by integrating the browser as a web control. Okay, now let's talk a bit about the bada server, which is pretty interesting, and I would say this is really an asset of bada. So as I said earlier, what you get with bada is also the possibility to access services which are remotely hosted on a bada server infrastructure. There are 4 different types of services. The first one is location-based services. So that means you can actually integrate maps into your applications. You can interact with those maps. You can download, create, publish points of interest or landmarks or geographic areas. We also provide services like geocoding and reverse geocoding. And you can, as I said, create landmarks and share them on the bada server, or you can also share your position if you would like to do that. Second type of service is location-based services. So the bada server acts as a unified interface to all different sorts of social networking sites. At the moment we support Twitter, Facebook and MySpace. This is going to be extended in the future, of course, so we're going to cover the most popular SNS websites or services. At the moment we're supporting these 3, and this makes it pretty easy for you as a developer to create a simple mashup, because you only have to interact with this unified access point, which is our bada server, and you don't have to interact with each and every social networking site individually. What's wrong with this presenter device? Okay. Third type is commerce service. So that essentially means that handles all the possibilities for you to do in-app purchases, so selling items through your application. So that helps you in managing your items. It also covers all the purchasing and billing services. And last but not least, we also provide remote content management. So that means you or the user gets the possibility to upload whichever content to a remote server. So these can be pictures or video clips or whatever. And this opens up some nice possibilities. So for instance, the user can use it as his personal storage possibility, or he can also use that to share content with his friends. Okay, and together with bada, we also introduced as part of the ecosystem a couple of value-added services. So the first one, which is an essential one, of course, is our online market store. So that's the channel for selling, distributing, and promoting applications, and that is called Samsung Apps. We will have another dedicated presentation just about Samsung Apps and about your business opportunities, so stay tuned for that. Second value-added service is a system called Social Hub. So again, this is a client on bada phones, but as well it's a server infrastructure. And that is also an integration of various different social media, emails, and IM accounts. So that makes it for the user very handy, because he has all that information, all the different sites he has maybe registered, all in one place. Right, then another service is called Samsung Dive. So that's very useful in case your phone gets stolen or is lost. Then you can use Samsung Dive to remote control your phone and maybe lock it so that no one gets access to your data. And the last value-added service is a navigation solution, which is also preloaded on the phone, and that has maps, and you can also buy in addition speech navigation. Okay, so that was roughly the recap of bada 1.0. All the functionality which is provided to developers is logically grouped into 20 groups. We call them namespaces, and this is basically roughly as you would expect it as a developer. But we didn't stop there with bada 1.0. We then continued pretty early. So let's say 1.0 was launched in the public release. The stable one was launched in August. We did not stop there, if my slide would progress. But then in November, we actually released bada 1.1, the SDK 1.1. Together with that, we also increased our family of Wave phones. So we added 4 more device models. And the core additions in terms of the SDK, the core functionalities which we added are that with 1.1 we supported various resolutions, and we provide a mechanism to allow auto-scaling between those resolutions. The second addition that is again very, very convenient is a remote testing lab. So of course the best way to deploy and test your application is always by having a physical device available, but sometimes that's not possible. And for that we provide a solution that's called the remote test lab. So there's a couple of labs around the world which really physically host Wave devices. You can book a slot there, you can deploy and upload your application and test it on a real device. So that's very handy because it's a different type of feedback you get. And we also added a new namespace which allows you to unit test your applications as well. And the last thing we added in 1.1 was HTTP streaming. Right. Again, we didn't stop there in November, but we published then in December bada SDK 1.2. And together with 1.2, we're about to publish another Wave phone, which is called the Wave 2, which is very, very similar to the first Wave, the S8500. The main difference is that the screen is slightly larger. Some more additions in this SDK 1.2 are that we now also support a web and Flash-based application model. So you can use our IDE, just go through the project creation wizard, and that basically does everything for you to create the skeleton in terms of a bada application, which allows you then to integrate your web or Flash logic. Another interesting addition is what we call conditional app launch. So you can basically define various conditions, and based on these conditions, when they become true, your application is launched. So for instance, you can say, my application should be launched at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and when it becomes 5, the application is launched. And the last thing is we provide a more secure communication over Wi-Fi by supporting the EIP protocol as well. Okay, so that was bada in versions 1.x if you want. Now it's I'm pretty excited, nervous even, to announce bada 2.0. Bada 2.0 has a couple of very, very interesting extensions in terms of features, technical features, as well as business opportunities. And I would like to just summarize what's in bada 2.0 in the next couple of minutes. Bada 2.0 as a beta release should be available in Q2 of 2011. Okay, the new features of bada 2.0 can roughly be categorized into 4 types. The first one is we extended the application framework. Second is we provide new communication means. The third one is we refined the user interaction. And the fourth one is we provide even better support for web technologies. So let's have a look at the first one, the extension of the application framework. So these are basically 2 things. The first one, and this is something which I'm actually quite proud of, is that in bada 2.0 we now support multitasking. The reason why I'm so proud of this is because the developers actually were crying out for multitasking. And of course you can understand that multitasking is some sort of a trade-off between having total multitasking and being concerned about performance. So, but now in bada 2.0 we are going to support multitasking, definitely true multitasking, so applications can be executed in the background as well. The only criterion or restriction, let's say, is that if there are not enough system resources available, then an additional application cannot be launched. So that's the only restriction, basically. And I would say this is quite reasonable. Okay, in addition to that, as I said earlier, in bada 1.0 you had the possibility to launch other applications out of your bada application. Now we extended this model, so you can also now define or associate content types with applications. So this is based on MIME types or URIs, and you can say this type of content is related to this application. So the first thing which you have to do is, when you develop a bada application, you can define these associations. And then the second thing is, when another application wants to use a particular type of content, then the user gets asked which application he wants to invoke in order to consume this type of content. Okay, and to illustrate these two additions in bada 1.2, I would like to show you a little video. Can you please switch to the video? We prepared videos, but we have all those applications and demos also available in our stand out there. So what I would like to show here is basically Content Explorer. We start the counter here, so to show that it's running in the background. And so we show basically two things. The first one is multitasking. The second one is this association between content types and applications. Here we have the content type image, for instance. And when the user clicks on an image, on a photo, he gets asked which application he wants to use together with that content. So in our case, that's either, you will see it in a second, that's either an image editor or a send email application. So as you can see, we invoke from one application, we invoke two others, and the initial application still keeps running in the background, which you can see at the counter, which is still increasing. See here this counter. Okay, thanks. Please switch back to the presentation. Okay, so that was the first type of new features, improved application framework. The second type of new features is communication. Oh, sorry. In terms of communication, we provide now also the mechanism of push messages. Push messages in the bada UI can be represented in three different types. Either it can be as on the grid panel at the top. Second possibility, it can be shown as a number on the icon. And the third possibility is, while the application is running, you can show an icon at the bottom bar. Okay, now another thing which is really very interesting in bada 2.0 is the support for NFC. So we're now also going to support near-field communication, which opens up many new possibilities. So we're going to support the read and write functionality of NFC as well. And we also improved the APIs for using Wi-Fi. So in bada 1.0 we only supported Wi-Fi in infrastructure mode. Now what you can do with 2.0, you can also use it as ad hoc and peer-to-peer mode. So you will have APIs available which allow you to set up a Wi-Fi network either in infrastructure mode or in ad hoc mode. Okay, next type is user interaction. Okay, as you may know, in bada we have this tool called UI Builder, which you can use to graphically design your UIs. We improved that by a sort of automatic layout management or improved layout management. So this helps you a lot in aligning all your icons and controls on the screen, and it also helps you when you change orientation. Second is we also support now Flash 4. And there is also the possibility to provide personalized and interactive lock screens. This may actually lead to an interesting new business opportunity because those lock screens are actually flash-based. So you can develop such a lock screen by using Flash and then distribute or sell it via Samsung apps, for instance. Now we also support the OpenAL library, which is a sound library, 3D sound. So what you can do now is, by using our APIs, you can programmatically define the sources where sound is coming from in a 3D manner. And another thing which is very interesting is that now we also support speech-to-text and text-to-speech engines in bada. So that again opens up many new possibilities and should increase the user experience for users using bada phones. Okay, and the last extension is even better support for web technologies. Here I would like to show you a brief demo. One of the new things we're going to support is HTML5. Can you please switch to the video? So here we show a simple demo using HTML5. And in particular, in this demo, we exploit the canvas tag. And you can see that this person touching the screen can actually interact with the canvas. Whenever he touches the screen, you can see those bubbles popping up. So that should just show that, so this is a web application using HTML5. That should just show that we are now supporting various tags. One of them is the canvas tag. So as I said, if you're interested in these demos, and we have actually many more demos also for the text-to-speech thing, we have such demos, please come to our booth, the big, massive Samsung booth, or also out there we have a couple of demos which we're happy to show you. Okay, so as I said, we are now supporting HTML5. We also support JavaScript framework and some 80 plus APIs defined in the back 2.0 standard. So as a web developer, you can basically easily switch over to bada. All the necessary framework stuff is done by the IDE, and you just can continue doing your web programming in JavaScript. Okay, so that was an overview about the technical features of bada. So the goal really was with bada 2.0 a couple of things. The first one was to extend the set of features which we open up to our developers. Second is we wanted to work on performance and stability of our tools. So for instance, you might know that the simulator was sometimes a bit slow, especially on initial startup. So we are going to improve the performance of the simulator. And we also added a couple of new tools to our bunch of SDK tools. So for instance, what we're going to add is a code coverage tool, a performance analyzer, or a profiler which you can use to improve your applications. Okay, for the future of bada, we are mainly focusing on three specific areas which we are going to work on and improve even further. So the first one is to make the technical platform of bada highly competitive. The second area we are going to work on is to increase and extend the number of bada phone types as well as the shipped volumes. And the third area we're going to work on is improve business support. Okay. So as I said, the first one was to continuously work on our platform, on our technical issues. So you can expect that we're going to improve and extend the technical features of our bada platform in the future. So this is just a brief recap. So we started from bada 1.0, over 1.1, 1.2 by end of last year, and now we arrived at 2.0, which should be available in Q2, as I said. Second area, as I said, are devices. So there are at the moment 6 devices out there on the market. In 2010, by end of 2010, we managed to sell 5 million bada phones. We expect to sell a total of 10 million phones by end of first half of this year. And as you may know, the vision of bada is smartphone for everyone, as you can see over here, around everywhere. And that basically means what we want to do is we want to bring a smartphone experience in a slightly lower price segment, which is a quite interesting segment actually. So we're not targeting at the high level top-notch segment, but slightly below that. And we would like to bring this smartphone experience into this segment. yes, you can expect that we're going to, as I said, work on our portfolio, increase the number of types, and also the number of ship volumes. Okay, and as I said, the last bit is to provide even better business support. The core entity, the most important thing about our ecosystem is Samsung Apps Store. This is available right now in 118 countries and increasing. We had last year some 50 million downloads, and right now, it's actually more or less today, some roughly 8 billion downloads from our Samsung App Store. So we are going to work on Samsung Apps to improve the service even further. And we're also working on improved business opportunities. So we're going to provide mechanisms to integrate advertisements into your apps. And we're also working hard to improve the billing systems and the billing methods. So we do have all the infrastructure in place to operate the billing, which is obviously the most attractive way of payment. We have already many operators on board, but we are continuing and working hard to increase the number of operators which are going to provide operator billing. Yes. Okay, so to summarize, 3 core areas we're going to work on. First one is we're definitely going to extend our technical platform further. Second is we are going to extend our portfolio of devices. And the third one is, most importantly, I would say, providing some real good business opportunities for you. Okay, thank you very much.